This story is from the subreddit Ghost Stories and is titled Footprints in the Snow. This happened when I was younger, around 8 or 9. I grew up on a reservation in eastern Maine. I lived with my mother and brother who was younger. We lived in a 2-storey multi-dwelling unit or public housing. Vast wooded area was in my backyard, surrounded by deep woods and wouldn't take much to get lost. I always enjoyed adventuring and was very familiar with the territory. It was late winter with about 4 to 5 inches of snow on the ground. I heard knocking on the front and back door at the same time around 1 AM in the morning. I noticed it at first and then my mother got up and told my brother and I to stay in my room. She called the police and went downstairs to see if someone was at the door. We kept hearing the knocking, but as my mother got closer to the door, it suddenly stopped. No one she could visibly see outside the door and the police finally showed up. Lights lit up the front of our place. Neighbours came out to see what was going on as we had 5 neighbours in our street. All of them said they didn't hear or see anyone. Police searched around the property to see if anyone was hiding or ran off, but they didn't find anything. A cruiser stayed in our parking lot for the majority of the night in case anyone comes again. Sunrise came and the officer had left early in the morning. My mother and next door neighbour went outside, I assume to talk about what happened. Then she noticed footprints in the snow that went along the building leading to our front door and back all the way into the forest. But these footprints were strange. It's as if someone was wearing pointed boots, men's size between 10 to 12. The prints were inverted as if the toes were facing each other, not at an angle, either directly facing each other or in a straight line. The creepiest part about them was the steps of the footprints moved side to side. Toes were inverted and looked as if they jumped like that side to side in a perfect straight line leading into the woods. My mother didn't say anything about them till later on in life when I was older, but I knew they were there, it was so obvious. I know what you're thinking, maybe someone was playing a prank or faked it. There were other footprints in the snow around the strange ones, but only around the building. I assumed the other footprints were made by the officers due to the fact they looked normal, but there were no other prints in the snow leading up to the tree line. I followed the prints into the woods, no other markings around them, perfectly inverted side to side hops or steps in the snow, leading deeper and deeper into the forest. I got to the point where an uneasy feeling crept over me, like something was telling me to go back, but I knew where the prints were leading. As I said, I was very familiar with the area. It eventually would lead to a marsh or bog area. I got chilled by that thought for some reason and turned back. I never said anything to my mother about it till later on. I never heard or encountered anything like it ever since. If anyone has any thoughts or ideas what it could be, I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks so much for listening to the story. If you would like to hear the full snow episodes, please head to Real Spooky Stories on all audio streaming platforms. Bye!